Hey everyone, thanks for having me here today to talk about Recycle at Saturday and other adventures with Survey 123. Bit of an ambitious title, but really we've used Survey 123 a bunch of times over the years, and we've used it to do asset data collection, and it's been really helpful in those ways, but these journeys are more about doing customer engagement with Survey 123. Our first one is Green Square and the need for public space. So we have Green Square. It's one of the largest urban renewal projects in Australia. That's about 3 kilometres south of here. And we've already got 33,000 residents, and we're going to have 80,000 in the next 20 years. So a big uptick in the population. Our population's only 250 in our LGA, so quite a significant uptick for us. Right nearby is Moore Park Golf Course, and it's 45 hectares of land. You can see it there on the imagery, but only 80 people can use that at once. And so the council came up with a bit of a crazy idea. We asked the public, what do you think if we split the golf course in half and no longer 18 holes, but we had 9 holes with either a park at the north or a park at the south? We thought they'd love it, but the results came back and it was 49% against. They wanted to keep the golf course, and about 47% in favour of changing it. So not very obvious what's happening. But lots of good questions about how often do you play golf and how many times do you go there and all the rest of it. But really, after days and days of processing from the survey that they did, they said, is there something in the location? We said, surely. So the survey was done with SurveyMonkey, so not very optimal. The location data was free text. And so we spent about 2 days looking over the data. Things like Brighton. Brighton's in there 4 times in the data. Brighton, Les Sands, Brighton, Let Sands. So we went through and massaged all that data. And we put it through the geocoder and did a wonderful job, but we had results from all over the world. And we thought, we don't really care what those people overseas think. So we zoomed into the Sydney location instead. And there we had our filtered data set. Once we put it on the map with counts and amounts, it's a very simple map, but it tells the story straight away. All these people within our LGA really want this to change. And so we were able to advocate on their behalf to the state government, and looks like that's going forward now with some changes to the golf course. So it turns out it's really important. Capture location in your surveys. The next time that we had to do some consultation was on the street tree master plan. And because we were now in the good books with engagement, they said, yeah, you can do a Survey 123 for this. And so we had the street tree master plan. This was the master plan in 2013. It was precinct-based. It was made into a PDF document. And there was one selection of tree per street. And so we got that into our system. We digitised it. We got all those records in there. But we wanted to recommend 5 species per street, so that there was a lot more diversity, a lot more enjoyment in the streets. So we had a look at soil, we had a look at aspect, slope, and the existing species. But really, our arborists also wanted to consider what the public wanted as well. So we did our Survey 123, the mandatory location straight away. We need to know where you're talking about. We made it really fast with checkboxes and radio buttons as well, so they're only answering the relevant questions. And the questions are filtered based on their responses to these. So if I tick, I love them and I want to tell you why, then the questions that you're asked, what do you love about this street? But if you say, I have feedback, well, what is your feedback about this street? So we're only asking the relevant questions based on their responses there. And we got some really great feedback. People could upload photos as well. They were able to do a privacy protection notice so that we could contact them again after the survey was complete. And we got 500 responses. And look, we were overwhelmed. That's a lot of responses to get from the public survey, but it was also really handy because that was in the exact location that we needed, and it was only talking about the things that we wanted to know. There was no more letters to the Lord Mayor, 5 pages long before you get to the point of what they're talking about and where. So our arborists considered that straight away, and they were able to make changes to our street tree master plan on the fly. Once we had the street tree master plan, they said, do you want to do this in an interactive map? And we said, yeah, of course. So we put together the Nearby app, And this is just one of the ready-to-go app templates on ArcGIS Online. I've put it inside an experience just so we've got like a banner at the top. But the nearby app, you can configure that nearby app in so many different ways. You can change the colors of all the buttons, the answers that come back from the geocoder. We even hid some of the functionality of that app using the CSS that's built within it, so you can hide things too. We didn't like the little buffer distance. We didn't want them playing with that, so we just took it away. So we use the nearby app. It's personalised results now. They don't have to look across the whole LGA and look for what precinct they're in and look for their street and then just see that there's one tree that's been recommended. We want it personalised and we want it about your street. So this app gives us the ability. But people tend to type in their own property address, not their street name. So to deal with that, we thought, well, we can leverage the World Geocoder, but we can change the options on there. So what you do, you can just go in and create another view of the geocoder in your locators. And then you can change the option to say, I only want the results on the side of the street. I don't want it in the middle of the property. So what that allows, they type in their address, it zooms into the street frontage instead. And in the nearby app, they've done that, they've typed in their address, and you can see the little pin on the map. It's right at the front of the property, so it intersects with the street layer, and that's where the data is. So that's an easy sort of workaround to get those people to be able to type in their address and get results for that. We've got a nice pop art. We just formulated that in HTML, so that's fairly well understood how you can do that in a pop-up, and it appears quite nicely. We've got some stock images to do different sizes for the trees that we're recommending, and they could also hit a little Google image search to see what it looks like. But we wanted the survey in there. We wanted to see, what do you actually think about these things that we recommended? So we've got the link to the survey, and it's a give feedback button, and when they click on it, we want to be able to have feedback about that street as well. We said, is there a way to do that? There is. We had a look at the Esri blog post about Survey 123 parameters, and so you can just send in a key on the end of the URL when you're launching the Survey 123, and so we send in the street key across the survey. There's a few tips on how you can do that. You can send in the location X and Y. You can send in the property key like we did. It's just field equals value in the URL. But if you don't want them to see that, then you can also encode it as well. So our URLs are encoded. The public don't know what they're sending from the map, but they're sending over those values so we get the feedback about that street. So in this example, Botany Road is selected. They've typed in 355 Botany Road. Click on Give Feedback. The URL builds and it loads Survey 123, and you can see Botany Road's already populated, so they don't have to go into the survey and do that. And it's set to, do you agree to this selection? And we said yes, all. And so there's not really any further space to comment on that. But if they say no, I don't agree, then we ask them, what do you not agree about? But we took it a little bit further, and there's some fields there that you can see that are hidden from the public that I've turned on. But you can see a field called FE. So if a footpath species exists on that street, then I sent in that FE equals yes as well, so that then I can ask them about the footpath species in the survey. And if it didn't exist, then I wouldn't ask them about the footpath species. So we got a really narrow feedback channel using that survey, which was really good. We got around 100 responses to this, so lots of agreement really, not much disagreement. But what we also got was time-stamped responses too. So some people came back and argued and said, oh, I said this on this date, and we were able to go back through and say, this is what it was selected, this is what you said, this is how we changed it as well. So really good metadata around that too. And so we had a bit of success with being able to send parameters in. We got a question about the Ultimo recycling pop-up. So this is a different event. This is where people can go to Ultimo, they can bring their tricky to recycle items. And it's for residents only, and our web team came to us and said, they want to do this pop-up, can you make a map that just shows what the local government area is? We said, we can do better than that. We can do the address search, and we can use the zone lookup app. And so what they do, they arrive at the Bay Street depot, they can scan a QR code there, and that opens up the zone lookup. So zone lookup's just another Esri app that's available on the ArcGIS Online. And what happens is you type your address in and it intersects the local government area, and if you're inside the local government area, then you're allowed to click Start Form where the Survey 123 is, and if you're not, then you don't get that link. So it's just a little gate That also sends in the parameters from what we learnt from the street tree master plan. We can send in the parameters. So we send in the property key. We created this survey. You can see I've entered my name at the top. The address has already been sent in from the zone lookup. And I can just tick the items that I've brought for recycling, and then I wait. And we had a few events, and then they said, oh, look, there's a few people that just keep coming back all the time. They're bringing their recycling all the time. They don't want to enter their address every single time. Can you do something? And we just had a little think, and we thought, we can actually just build another survey that links to the same feature layer, but we just don't ask them what address that they belong to. So we just gave them a VIP number. We just changed what fields are available in their survey, but it still links to the same feature layer as well. So they type in their number there, it says, welcome back, Sam, and we don't have to ask them where they live. And then the staff said, well, you built them a survey, can we have a survey as well so we can edit the responses that are coming in from the public? They don't always bring the right materials like they ticked in the survey. I said, no problem. So we built them a survey, in survey 123 on their phone, and it was okay. It just didn't work because they had to keep getting their phone out all the time. So they said, yeah, we've got an iPad on site. So we said, right, we've seen this thing in a blog where you can put a survey inside a dashboard. So this is not our prettiest dashboard, but it has no map in it at all. So you don't have to have a map in your dashboard if you don't want. The best ones do, but this one has no map. But it does have a little indicator, and it says that there's 2 residents waiting. So those people filled in their name. I can see there that Matt and Sam are in the queue. And if I click on one of their names, then we've just got an action on that list widget to open up a URL in the middle in the panel, and the URL in the middle is the survey 123. It goes in the middle there. Just the global ID sent across. And so to see that in action, we've got 2 people waiting. We've clicked on Matt. Matt's come to the counter, and he didn't tick the gas bottle, so we can now change what he's brought, and that edits his data. We can put in 4 kilos for the total weight of what he brought, and you'll see the little widget, once they click submit for the weight on the right-hand side, updated to 365 from 361. So all the indicators, all of the widgets that are in your dashboard, you can set a refresh rate on those. So we just set them to 0 seconds. So they're always up to date with the feature layer. And as soon as they hit submit, you don't have to reload the dashboard to see the results. What we also got, which was kind of flipping it on its head, and we didn't even really acknowledge it until we did it, but we got the locations of where all the people came from when they came to do the recycling drop-off. So we can see now, this is where we have our centre, where the star is, and lots of people come from there, but do we need another centre somewhere else where we can do recycling too? We've got the weight of everything that's been recycled, so 32 tonnes has gone through there in 97 events. We've got other pages talking about the customers that come so that we can get the relevant feedback from them as well and the questions they ask. And we've also got our VIP dashboard. So we just got the total weight per VIP, and Sandy is prolific. She goes to every recycling event just about, and she's recycled 1.4 tonnes, so quite an amazing effort. There's a lot of apps there, so quickly we just built an experience because our staff couldn't find where all those apps were, so we just built this experience and just put tiles there. So they only need to remember one URL, they just click on it and it loads that app that they wanted. There's help in there as well. So yeah, that went really well, and they said, hey, can you help us with our Recycle It Saturday? And that's quarterly recycling. And for most household items, again, it's just for residents, so we need to do the resident check. And we hold this at our new Alexandra Canal Depot. That's just been complete. It's a world-class facility. It's got water recycling. It's got 1,600 solar panels, a huge Tesla battery. And it's also tenanted by Waverley and Wallara councils as well. So we thought, we want to be a property developer. Let's build a big site and get people to lease it as well. But when we do our Recycle It Saturday, those councils also participate in our Recycle It Saturday. So the facility works for both us and our neighbours there as well. For tricky items, we get about 900 people coming, and it requires that address check. So they had an existing SurveyMonkey. The SurveyMonkey just said, which council do you belong to? That's it, right? There's no location data, there's no integration. It requires lots of manual processing. They wanted to do that address check. We had the zone lookup, but that was too many steps. So we reached out to Ishmael, from Survey 123 at Esri, and we said, can we do an address check inside the survey? And he said, yeah, absolutely. So he even sent us a sample on how to do it. And so we put together the Survey 123. You can see now the address check is done in the middle, and this person is not eligible. And then if they enter an address that is within our council area, it says, yeah, you're within City of Sydney, so you can. So our attendant is just doing that address check there and advising them straight away whether they can drop off items. We've got nice large icons for our attendants so that they're not getting confused in the sunlight and in the speed of it all. And we've got calculations for things too. So if they put in a certain item that's tricky to recycle, we'll send them to a different entrance. So that said entrance 1, and then it switches to entrance 2 based on what they ticked in the list. So they can send to those different queues as well. All just calculations. This is what they had before when they did their SurveyMonkey. They just had these tabulated results in Excel. So we said, yeah, we can fix that as well. Let's do it as a dashboard. So the dashboard, yeah, it just lives off the same data from the survey. Now we can see where all these people travel from that come to our centre. So it's been flipped on its head again. We didn't go out and visit every site and collect it. They came and told us what their data was. And now we can see where we need to have recycling centres or where people come from. We've got our charts automatically calculating on the tonnage of things that are dropped off, and we split that up by different councils as well, so the other councils can log into the dashboard and have a look. And yeah, just some further metrics, whatever the management want to see, the attendance over time, you know, how many people have come, whatever. We just calculate all that data on the fly and just put that into the dashboard, and they can have it there every single time the survey runs. To speed it up a little bit, we receive and download the data after the event. We just do a little bit of data processing on it just to clean up some fields, and then we just publish it back up to ArcGIS Online just so that dashboard's super fast. We also have an infographic. So they were going to design and producing this infographic on the left-hand side. You know, obviously they've got to work out how things changed, what metrics have changed, what were the most materials, how do we get the map. We don't have to do that. This is just an ArcGIS Pro print template, that's it. There's nothing special about that. It's got a huge title and a really tiny map. But it's just an ArcGIS Pro print template. So when the data comes in, we just update the definition query. And all the indicators, we've got up and down indicators over the top of each other with the percentages. Just use Arcade to hide or show those fields based on how the data comes in. So you can see that, you know, there's 17% less, but there was 92% more rubbish. Those indicators are just updating with Arcade. Down the bottom, we've got some tiles for the most popular items that were recycled, so they're ranked as well. So we can just rank them based on tonnage that was dropped off, have that in the template, and every single time that it's run, it's up to date. They've got their infographic straight away to take their manager, their director, or put out to the public. So really, we developed an end-to-end solution by mistake. We set out to do a survey just to capture what council area they belong to, and then we ended up doing the dashboard, and we ended up doing the ArcGIS Pro as well and fixed everything for them. But that's now a template for us. We say, hey, we've got this end-to-end solution that we can do with your data to take it from collection to analysis to presentation at the end.